The single most important skill that every entrepreneur needs to have is the ability to sell. This is because businesses create wealth, pay salaries and benefits. When you think about it, the first businesses have the first best salespeople. The second best businesses have the second best salespeople. And the third businesses, well, they're on their way out. Which brings us to our next point. What is sales? Anything that involves you asking people to buy into a product, idea or service is sales. And people constantly sell new dreams and visions that others buy into. See, people sell dreams of a better world, visions of a better community, and most importantly, a better you when you buy into whatever it is that they're selling. Let's for a moment go back to the person who was knocking at your door asking you to buy something that you are not interested in. One of the things they will do, given the fact that you allow them to sell to you, is speak about how good their product is. And most often they're able to do this because, well, they understand their product more than how the person they're selling to understands. Unfortunately, that's the old way. Before, sellers had the power to influence people because they had more information than available to customers. Unfortunately, they don't have that card to play anymore. And now for them, it's not about how much information you have at your disposal, but rather, can you make sense of the information that you have? Now more than ever, take a smartphone and you have access to all the information that you need. And therefore, customers have information as the one available to salespeople. And this is what we call information curation. So what is information curation? Let me give you an example. See, if a patient goes to a doctor, what they would have with them is actually a pile of research papers on the research that they have done regarding the problem that they're suffering from. And what the doctor has to do then, it's actually going through the research, making sense of the research, and giving the best recommendation to the patient. Now, salespeople cannot get customers to buy into their product, services, or ideas simply because of the details, or because they already have that information. Sales is about persuading, and persuading is about listening and not speaking. Most salespeople speak about what they think a customer needs, which is actually a problem. And this is because the salesperson is not the one buying, but rather the customer. Well, imagine there's a dark room and there are two people in the room. One is the salesperson and the other is the customer. And the spotlight points to whoever is speaking at that point. Between the two, who do you think should be spotlighted the most? Well, obviously, it should be the customer because they're the ones who will be expressing their frustrations and pains. And those frustrations and pains are the ones that the salesperson should use to get the customer to buy into whatever they're selling. "20, 30, 40 years ago, those who could solve problems actually won the market. But now things are a little bit different. Right now, it's not about solving the problems, because if people know their problems, remember, they have a smartphone, they have access to all the information they want, they really don't need you, they can solve their own problem. Right now, it's actually about problem identification. It's about spotting out problems when people do not know that such problems even exist. And I'll give you a single tool that will enable you to identify problems even before others spot them. And it's called the 5 whys. Let's assume that a student says that they do not finish assignment on time, and you ask, well, why don't you finish your assignments on time? And they say, well, I have problems with the Wi-Fi. And then you go ahead and ask, why do you have problem with the Wi-Fi? I think I don't use a good internet service provider. And you can go ahead and ask, why don't you have a good internet service provider? And they might be like, I have limited choices. So here the problem is not about the students not finishing the assignments on time, but rather the problem is about having a good internet service provider. You have spotted the problem. Now that you have identified the problem, the next step is actually creating a solution for the problem. And the single most important question that customers ask themselves is this product or service going to make my life better? Am I going to be better off with it or without it? And well, if the answer is the latter, then you know you are the third business and you are on your way out. There's also a term in sales that's called social proof, and you can use it this way when you're trying to make a sales. You can tell your client, you might be afraid of buying this, and I would if I was in your position. However, I have sold this same product to your neighbor a month ago and they haven't complained about it. Customers buy for different reasons, but the main reason for every purchase made by a customer is improvement. They are looking forward to using your service or product to improve their lives, and all you have to do is to listen carefully to understand the key benefit that the customer is looking into your product. And the moment you identify the key benefit they are looking into, that's the button you keep pressing until you make the sales. Customers have made countless buying mistakes. They have bought products just to reach home and the product don't work and they can't return them. This way, they're not only afraid of buying, but rather they're most afraid of buying new products. And this way, most customers become late adapters in the curve. It is the fear of failure and disappointment that they're afraid of. They don't want their friends and family to laugh at them because of their buying choices. And what you do as a seller or persuader is to increase their buying desire and decrease their fear of loss.